Hello, my friends. I am back to talk to you guys about sociopaths, narcissists, psychopaths, and habitual liars. Now, I have completely left out a part during these series about habitual liars because generally all four of those titles are psychological disorders, and habitual lying comes with those. They are all basically one and the same. So they all come together. So I'm going to speak about different things, but first I want to talk about compulsive liars. Basically, the difference between a compulsive liar and someone who tells a white lie, or just, they lie once or twice or whatever. The difference is compulsive liars, habitual liars, lie for no reason. So they will lie about something that doesn't benefit them, that doesn't do anything, that there's no purpose for it, but they'll still lie just because that is in their personality, and they're lacking something in their brain, and they don't know how to not lie. And so in these things, I do want to point out that these are actual psychological disorders. And so, like I've said, I don't like to put the term crazy because they actually have a severe disorder. And it is a disorder of the brain, so it can't be seen. That's why it's very hard to get out of. And it's hard to know if someone is when you're getting to know them. That's why we get reeled in, because it's not obvious. In the beginning, it's normal. So, it takes a lot, and it's very damaging to the victim. So I will say, they all have they make it like a sport. It's like for play, abusing you. And, malignant narcissists and psychopaths, I will read this, have a sadistic need to belittle you. So let's say that you have a higher education. They will, in turn, start to, try to one-up you. Or say that, your education was, stupid and, not worth anything. And they will say that they're smarter, they're better, they have, job-wise. I know for me, I was not able to work during my pregnancy because I was high risk. So, job-wise, he obviously was the provider. And not only that, we didn't even have a joint bank account, but job-wise, he had the upper hand because I wasn't working, and he was. And that's because he wanted to use it that way, because I have a higher education than him. So that's my experience. I do try to tailor these to my experiences, because if I can't relate to it, and even if I've read it, I don't want to speak about it because I haven't been in that position. So I'm speaking in regards to romantic relationships. And you can, in turn, then see if maybe you're in the same situation, or if you've been in the same situation, or if it regards something else, like a parent, maybe during your childhood, or even a friend, anything like that. So, but my speaking wise, it will be towards romantic relationships. So, they're going to do that, and they make it a sport of abusing you. And they really, really enjoy toying with you. It's a very sick, sadistic thing. They like to see the reactions of what happens when they toy with you, when they, let's say they belittle you and then they change completely, and you're still outraged over or hurt over what they did, but now they're love bombing you, and they like to see that response because you're not over it. And you're not over it because you're never going to get closure. And I will touch on that later. But there are some things that I do want to read to you that psychologists have wrote. One of the most common ways psychopathic individuals, which psychopaths and sociopaths and narcissists are very, very much the same. But they toy with them in a manipulation tactic, which is withholding. So this could be withholding finances. This could be withholding information. This could be withholding anything. So say they did something in their past. Well, they're going to withhold that information from you. Say they're married still, and they have told you that they are divorced. They're going to withhold that from you. That happened to me. And, in the beginning, they're going to idealize you in the honeymoon phase, which I've talked about a lot, which is the love bombing. They're going to just be extravagant and do everything to reel you in, and you are going to feel like you are the most important person on the face of this earth. The withholding tactics serve to instill insecurity in their victims. So I will say I was a very secure person before I met my narcissist. And then I started becoming very insecure. And that was because of what he was doing to me. And I kind of just started becoming, I went from a very vibrant, social person to a very nothing. I lived in a bubble. I wanted to live in a bubble. And I always chalked that up to my pregnancy. I just don't feel good, all of that. And it wasn't that. I was being manipulated and drained emotionally, which I've said before. They provoke you. They're going to provoke you on purpose. And they want to see your response. They want to see if they really like it. So if you're in this relationship and you get provoked, try not to get mad. Try to walk away. Try to be calm. Because what they expect is for you to have an outburst, so then later they can use that against you and call you crazy, or just regardless, use it against you and say you flipped your lid, even though you flipped your lid because of something they did, not because you just went off, So they do that on purpose, and they do it to see how you're going to react. And then if you react in a certain way, a certain negative way, they're going to hold that against you. So another thing is, so first it's the honeymoon phase, like the love bombing, like I've said. And then the things that I just talked about for the insecurity. So I became very insecure, and I didn't want to talk to other people. I just felt insecure. I felt like as if the only person that cared about me was him, and that's what they want. They want to feel needed. Like I've said, narcissists are driven by their ego, and which is the id, if Freudian, if you've ever heard of that, it's ID, but it's the ego, and so they are driven by that, and they want to be needed, and if they feel needed, then they are feeling superior, and they are feeling exactly what they want to feel, and that is not healthy. No one should ever get off on something like that. That's not normal. And so, they do have a grandiose sense of power and control over you. Basically, most cases, they're going to decide everything that you guys do. So if they want to go to a football game, I remember when I was 8 months pregnant, we were living in Florida. It was, I think, like 100 degrees. And he wanted to go to a football game. And obviously, we were in the sun. He bought cheap tickets. We were up high. We were in the sun. And I was dying. I'm high risk. I was high risk pregnant. But I allowed it. I said, I just went with it. And I let that happen because I let him control me. And I let him control everything that we did. So if he wanted to go out on a date, then it was always his choosing. I would never, ever ask. But most of the time, due to finances and things that I didn't find out until later, it was staying at home, which I liked. I liked that. So he really liked that about me, because then he didn't have to spend money. But that's, you know, it changes between, it's not always that. In different circumstances. There are so many different circumstances and examples that, you know, other people have been through. And, you know, it doesn't have, so basically it doesn't have to be that. And, you know, so there are 5, now I'm going to get into 5 common withholding tactics. Withholding, okay? So I've gotten into some tactics, but these are withholding tactics. Withholding affection. So this is, I'll just read this. Unlike normal healthy partners who may have the occasional need for space, which I need space, and it's weird because he doesn't. You know, we may not want affection during naturally occurring conflict or distress. I know whenever we would have a conflict, I would actually leave. I would just leave. And I didn't even know anything about where we lived. So I would just drive and leave. And, because I could not handle, here I am carrying a child. I could not handle the stress. I could not handle the, any of it. And so, I would be the one to leave. But, you know, they can do that to you too. If, let's say, you're mad at them, they're gonna leave. So, you're never gonna get closure that way. You know, you're gonna be mad and you're gonna want answers, and they are gonna leave, or they are going to silent treatment you, and until you get over it, until you just have to get over it. I mean, what else are you gonna do? Are you gonna leave? If you're not going to leave, then you're going to have to get over it. So, you know, there's that. And then after that, if they have done something wrong and you are upset and they will not give you an answer, they will not give you closure, then they will love bomb you again. They'll start with the flowers, dates, travel, whatever they think that will reel you back in and get you to accept their apology that never really happened. They don't apologize. They do things to make it seem like they're sorry, but they're not. So they'll just do these things just to get you to shut up, And so it's hot and cold. It's a hot and cold behaviors. You never know what to think. So you're in a constant state of turmoil of what's next. Good, bad, ugly, I don't know. I don't know what to think. I don't know what's coming. And that is not healthy. That is not healthy at all for your body, for your brain, for anything. And you can't live in that type of environment. But they can, because they're controlling it. They're the one creating it. So it's not hot and cold to them, really. It's what they want to do at that time. So, you know, that happens. And then, you know, they can physically distance themselves from you to dramatically get you to react. So, like, you know, you don't get the apology, but then you get the love bombing, and then they'll do it again and leave and see how you react. And generally the reaction would be anger. Would be the normal response, because you never got the apology the first time, and then you never got they love bombed you back, and then they do it again. And so now you're double mad. You're mad at both things. And really, you're probably even more mad that it happened again. So they'll do that, and they want to see how you react again. And that way, they can create a sense of trying to show that you are unstable mentally. And that's not true. They want you to basically be unstable mentally because they are. And that way they can say that you are instead. And then I hate talking about this. That I will bring this up. In another one I did say that a lot of people say, you know, and you know, I hate talking about this, but when it comes to sex, they, you know, you can say they're so toxic, but in the bedroom it is so good, right? That's not true. You are trained to believe that because that's the only time you're getting affection. That's the only time you're getting attention. So another thing is, so I've already said that one. But the next one is, when it comes to, a doctor wrote this, a psychiatrist, when it comes to sex, affection also becomes a power play. So the exact same thing. You know, the narcissist might deliberately overlook the partner's appeal signals in order to sadistically withhold affection from them. So they can actually do it the other way. Number two. Withholding healthy interest, praise, or genuine compliments when warranted. So let's say, you know, you have done something great. You have, you know, received a certification, a degree, whatever. And they'll just act like you didn't, they'll act like it's another day. Nothing happened. And that's heartbreaking to you, especially if you're, already in this bubble of just you and them. But, you know, they do not like giving praise to others, even when it's warranted, unless it's to cater to their agenda, which would be to give you that love bomb and then to take it away. So, you know, they do that, and then you're hooked, because it's a manipulation cycle of a manipulative cycle of, you know, back and forth. I don't know what to do, and it's thrilling, painful, crazy, all of the same things, and even fun, all in one. And so you get hooked that way. And then they start withholding interest in your life entirely. And in my case, I can say that he did good at not showing that part until the very end. But it did happen at the end. I mean, when I was septic, actually, I went through I went through bacteremia. I had E. coli and K. pneumoniae in my blood and in my urine. And then I went septic, and I went to the hospital, and they said that I was not. It came back positive for E. coli and K. pneumoniae. And then I went into full-blown septic shock. And I had to call 911, as soon as they walked in the room, I was so, like, they could feel the heat radiating off of me. I had 107 temperature. When I got to the hospital, my heart rate was 262. But he didn't take me to the hospital. I had to call 911. He went in the other room and went to bed. Here I am dying. Most people do not survive septic shock at all. And I have, this is off topic, but I have 2 valves in my heart that are they're regurgitating and they're failed. So anyways, there's that. And I think I missed a page. Let's see. So yeah, they do that. And then, yeah, so like things that are worthy of celebration, they just, act like it's nothing. But then if somebody else gets something, does something like that, they're going to praise them, or like, maybe throw a party for them, or congratulate them when they didn't ever do that to you. And that's a cycle of abuse, because it's confusing and it's something that you're like, well, why didn't I get that? And so there's that. And it's like a triangulation, and it's meant to unsettle you into feeling, undeserving and less than what you are. And in the context of an abusive relationship, withholding healthy praise and interest is used to strategically torment the victim and make the victim feel needy, obsessed, and desperate. I am none of those things. But guess what? I turned into it in that relationship because I needed an answer. I needed closure. I needed to know why. I needed all of these things, and it was all withheld from me. So, they will do that. And you'll be like fishing for compliments almost. And then number 3, withholding validation and discussion, which is stonewalling. So basically, this is known as like the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, or predators of divorce. It's also one of the malignant narcissists' most beloved withholding tactics. So much like the way they withhold affection, they will subject you to stonewalling and the silent treatment, even after periods where everything seems to go well. They'll just start stonewalling you. They'll just start ignoring you. They'll act like you are dirt. They'll act like you don't exist. And then again, you'll be vying for their attention. And let me see if there's anything else on that. I mean, so this is very important to know. It takes a very serious toll on the victim because it actually activates the same part of your brain that is what lights up, I guess, whenever you experience physical pain. So you actually feel the physical pain. And that is proven scientifically. So, and then number 4, withholding the truth, especially by omission, to string you along. So that again, telling me that, he was divorced, telling me that he had a lot of money, telling me, which I did not care. I actually loved him more when he made less money. Withholding the truth, it's not white lies. It's true, like, serious lies that are for no reason. They're just gonna lie about whatever. I remember whenever I finally did find out that he was going through a divorce, that he kept telling me, oh, we're gonna get the girls early this weekend, his other children, and he would start doing it on every single Thursday. And so I was wondering why. I was very, very sick, pregnant. And then finally I found the decree, and in time he had told me that we get them every Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and it was never true. He was using me as a babysitter. And so really in the decree it said every Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And so he was making up these lies. Oh, you know, each Wednesday, the day before, he would make up some reason why we were going to get them early on Thursday. And I was not in a place physically healthy to take care of two very young toddlers at that time, because I was pregnant and very sick. So there's that. And then I'll see if there's some other things that before I get off of this one, because I have another one, which is I'm just going to be speaking. I'm not going to read off anything. I haven't even read or anything, but it's going to be about mom shame or dad shame. And that is basically, it means like if you're a single parent, the shame that you feel for your child, and that you may go out of your way extremely for your child because you feel shame because you're both parents. So that will be my next video. And then but I want to see if there's anything else. You know, okay, so a weakness of a narcissist is their extreme hatred of being embarrassed. They cannot be embarrassed. You know, not even they have to be perfect. So, this was interesting to me, that when I read this, it said, that most narcissists, dress in a certain way. They dress very, he was always in like a suit and tie, or in just like the nicest looking clothes, very well put together, not even a hair out of place. I mean, I literally, when I read that, I was like, oh my goodness. And that was true. And so they put on the persona, not only the charisma, not only you know, being, you know, so funny and liked and all of that, but they also put on a physical persona on the way that they look, to make them look like they have it all together. And that was one thing that I noticed and that I found attractive, because it looked like he had everything. It looked like he had everything together. I mean, I didn't even think that he, you know, had any issues. I remember somebody, I'm not going to name who, but I remember someone asking me, do you think that he may have a sex problem? And I said, no. I said, oh my gosh, he's like, I think he's only been with like 3 people in his life. And, you know, he's definitely no, not at all. And come to find out, he cheated on me with about 20 people, within just a very few months, and many of them were escorts, and then 2 of them, or one of them I know for sure, was a co-worker at Planned Parenthood. I put that in the last video though too. I just think that should be, some light needs to be shed on the type of people. So there's that. And, you know, so they cast a lot of shame to feel superior. So they, you know, may say, you know, I kept the house very clean. I was the chef. I was the babysitter. I was the maid. I was the everything. But they could, you know, I'm trying to think of an example. I can't really think of one right now. You know, everything was really organized, but I guess since I can't think of an example, maybe other people, maybe they'd say, you know, this is out of place, or, you know, you didn't clean that right, or something like that. That's something that they do. And, you know, so there's that. And then historical revisionism. So this is an interesting one. I will read it and then I will speak about it. So a narcissist will retell another person's story, adding their own flair of additional shame. This can be done in front of others or privately. It usually happens after the other person has achieved some level of accomplishment. The narcissist will state that they are only trying to keep the other person humble, but in reality, they are trying to humiliate. So, and they'll retell another person's story, adding their own flair of additional shame. I think we can all understand what that means. Confidence breaking. Narcissists love to gather information about a person and store it away for later use. Oh my gosh. Like I've said in another video, there were things that I told him about decades ago. Just secrets, very, secrets that I didn't want people to know, but I loved him. Sorry, my mouth is dry. I felt like we were going to be together, and I felt like full, honesty and full disclosure of anything that has ever happened, good and bad, in my life should be shared, and, same with him. So, basically, every single thing that I told him that was negative, even if it wasn't negative but could be turned into a negative light with a very slight switch in the story, he kept all of that ammo. I remember he even he took one of my, I had an old iPhone, and he stole my SIM card so he could put it in a different phone and see what was on there. And, he would lock me out of my phone. He would try to get into my computer. I never snooped. He did so much snooping. It's not even funny. But they use their charm to get confidential details from you, because you feel like you trust them so much. And, they may tell you a, little white lie as well, just so that they can, say that they gave you disclosure, so you should in turn give disclosure back. And that's their tactic of getting things out of you that they can later on, which happened to me, they can later on use against you and humiliate you. Exaggerating faults. So no one's perfect. So they, if they let's say they just call you a name, or they say something rude about you. I know this didn't happen to me, but this probably happens a lot, like maybe weight shame, or, just whatever, it could be physical, it could be emotional, it could be, what you do around the house, how you, carry yourself, whatever. And then you get upset, and then they say they're just joking. So they will say a fault about you, and they will make you feel very low, and then later they're going to say, I was just joking, or you heard it wrong. I didn't say it that way. So then they play the victim card, of course. This one, I don't even need to read this because I got this all the time. So he would say he had a certain disease, and we went to have a test done, and they ended up calling me because he kept asking for pain medication, and saying that he was in pain, and it was not a painful test. And so they ended up calling me and saying, no, he does not have that. And so he would play the victim card and say, I have this disease. It's a stomach issue. And he would say that he had it and that it was so painful, but he didn't have it. And he used it in a way because he was an alcoholic. So he was hurting his stomach by being such an alcoholic, not by this disorder, because he didn't have it. The doctor spoke to me on my phone and called me. I could go back and on records and see how long we talked, and I know his name, and I could get the records. He doesn't have that disorder. So that's a victim card, and there are so many more. If he didn't get to talk to his kids because he wouldn't pay child support to the other parent, he would play the victim card to me and say, I'm, so sad, and he would want me to, give him special treatment because how horrible of his ex-wife to withhold his children and from Skype. And but he left out the part that he didn't pay the child support. Now I'm in that spot. I don't get child support. So, then blame shifting. Whenever something goes wrong, the narcissist shifts it on to one person, which is going to be you. So if you're in an argument or anything happens, just something wrong happens, it is going to be your fault and your fault only, no one else's. So let's say I had a very horrible pregnancy, and I ended up having to have a hysterectomy. That was a horrible time because I was 29 years old, and that meant I will never ever carry a child again. Well, he then shifted it to, I'm going to go back because the reason why I had to have the hysterectomy is because he chose a certain doctor who then missed the fact that I had a very severe pregnancy condition called placenta accreta. And so it was really actually his fault because he chose this doctor, and he kept believing this doctor because when I was in the hospital, they would give me IV pain medications, and then they would also write me prescriptions, so that way he could keep my prescriptions. So he kept me sick. I would maybe still have a uterus if it wasn't for that. But he blamed it on me that I had the hysterectomy, and it really was never my fault. It was his fault for not getting me the proper treatment. Okay, so because he kept going to the same doctor, he kept taking me to the same doctor. And then baby talk. I don't know about this one. In any narcissistic relationship, the narcissist wants to be seen as the adult and the other person as a child. Now, I can agree with that. He would try to play basically like he's my parent, and talk to me as if I am below and that I'm beneath him. So it's belittlement, and it's done in several condescending ways, such as literally talking down, calling the other person immature, and saying the other person needs to grow up. Now, he said that a lot when we separated. Grow up. And it would be over things that he did. So I would call him out on something, and he'd say, grow up. Why would I grow up? I'm calling you out on something that you did that was wrong. And so this implication is that the narcissist is more mature and has developed beyond the level of the other person. And that is not true, because you shouldn't be at bars when you should be at work. And you shouldn't be tripping over banana peels and landing in an escort's bed. So there's that. Religious guilt. I don't really want to go there. Offensive play. The narcissist will use personal attacks to put the other person on the defense. So the other person will get so caught up in defending their name or character that they will miss the next attack. And then here's a quote. Look how defensive you are. You must have done something wrong, the narcissist will say. This is a checkmate position because the other person has nowhere to go. So, they are going to, make your mind so mind-boggled that you're not going to know what to do. And then the next thing comes, and then you're going to, you still have the other thing that you're mad about. So then you're going to go on to both things that you're mad about, and they're going to say, you're really off the wall. You must have really done something wrong if you're so defensive. when it's not. That's a tactic. And then, you know, talking above instead of talking down, the baby talk. The narcissist will talk over the other person, as in my situation, my education level. So he'll try to act like he knows more about, we both worked in the medical field, so he'd try to talk about, you know, ICD-10 and, you know, coding and all of that. And I had a way higher level than he did. And so even if the other person is more intelligent, which I have more, I had previously made more money and he was 5 years older than me. And, I had higher jobs than him. I had not been ever fired from them. He had been fired from every job. He just got fired from Planned Parenthood for, credit card abuse. But they, you know, he would try to act like he's better than me because, again, I wasn't able to work. I was pregnant with high risk, and that was despite the accreta part. I was high risk for other reasons, blood pressure, preeclampsia, and all of that. So it was a very hard pregnancy, and I'm very glad that my daughter turned out so healthy and so beautiful. And then, comparing accomplishments. So, like, if you, let's say, I got a scholarship, and, you know, that was years and years ago, and, I, you know, whenever I moved to Florida, I had that letter, and he saw that, and then, so he started making up that he got scholarships, and then he didn't at all, and he didn't have, there were credentials he said that he had, such as, masseuse license, and I looked it up, and he had been kicked off. They took away his masseuse license because he refused a background check. So he would say he had all these certifications and jobs and all of this stuff that he didn't ever have. And then, so there's that. And then the last one, I'm going to say the first impression. Now, this I've already talked about. So I'll read it though. A narcissist is very aware of how they look and appear to others. Frequently, they are dressed in designer clothing with immaculate grooming. Not a hair is ever out of place. And if I showed a picture, which I will not do because I'm not going to defame someone's character. However, no one knows him. I never changed my last name. We were married for a month. And we did live together for a long time, but no one ever met him. We lived 1,000 miles away from anyone I ever knew. So, but I'm not going to show a picture, but he was dressed like, I'm telling you, in designer clothing. He had an old American Express card, which has sued him, and he would keep that, a black card, and he would keep that in his wallet to make him look, you know, it make him look, like he was doing well off when he just got sued for $20,000 for that, but he's been sued for a lot more things. Even his parents have to support him now today. So, you know, this is not just for them, you know, the way that they project themselves, it's not just for them, really, it's for, you know, the perfectionist appearance to you, to reel you in, or to reel others in to believe them, because they look like they've got it all together. And that also goes in with jobs, because whenever they apply to a position, they look like they have everything together, when if their true colors showed, if their appearance was not showing, then the employer would not even give them a chance. But they walk in there looking like they have it all together, and they don't. So, and same with getting women or men. If it's a man, if it's a woman, because narcissists are both, they have that attractive vibe. So that gives them an upper hand, and it also gives them a way to show that they are very normal and very you know, they have their lives really together, and that they are really they're a charm, and that they are someone that you would really want to seek after and be with. So I hope that this helped you guys. I love you guys, and have a happy Sunday, and I will see you next time.